All right, y'all, welcome to Studying Cinema with Cozy, where we dive deep into movies, cinema, shows, and, media overall, and just dive deep into the deeper connection that we have with them, whether it be on a spiritual, mental level, emotional level, or whatever the case is. So on today's episode, we're going to be discussing Avatar, The Way of the Water, the new Avatar movie that came out this recent December of 2022. So now that time has passed, and people have seen the movie and, had the time to think about the story of the movie. Feel like now is the best time to be able to talk about it and have a full deep on discussion about it. So I just wanted to start by saying, that going into this movie, I didn't really have any high expectations or low expectations for the movie. I really just wanted to see where they took the story, after completing the first film and, ending that on the note that it did. I just wanted to really see where they took it, knowing that they were gonna, dive deeper into, other realms of Pandora, particularly, the water, and, the sea and, different people that live within those conditions. I wanted to see how they, depicted that, especially seeing Black Panther and how they depicted Namor and his tribe of people, connected them to the Mayan Empire, and, just showcasing that story, the way that they did, especially with the skin tone being blue in Avatar and Black Panther, the Aztecs in that movie, their skin was blue, based off of their mutation. So it's little things like that I'd be picking up on, just, little things that kind of, showcase itself in different movies, but kind of fall within the same line. But to get back on track, I wanted to see what they, did with the story and how they could, take it further without playing out some of the cliches that, we're used to seeing, especially when it comes to sequels in movies. I'm not disappointed with what I've seen within the movie, but I do know that the film overall could have been better within the writing and certain elements, especially addressing certain, storylines that, I felt like they needed more time, especially, I guess they wanted to keep it a mystery, but the one character that really intrigued me was Kiri, the daughter within the family, not necessarily biological daughter, but she plays, the daughter role, I guess, within the family. The reason why her character intrigues me the most is because she was basically born out of immaculate conception within the movie and the story that they go with. And they don't really have an explanation as to who her father is, but her mother is one of the characters from the previous movies who had passed away. The reason this character intrigues me the most is because of her way to connect back with Pandora and Mother Nature within their world, Whether it be on land or in the water, she seems to have a sense of, something that the others within her family and, within the movie itself can't necessarily feel or, channel. She's channeling energy based off of, her connection with the land and with the water and being able to manipulate the world around her based off of that. And it's actually her that kind of saves, the day and the end when it comes to, saving her family and making sure that everything's all right in that realm. So she uses the power that she, has within her through Mother Nature, spiritual guides, or wherever it may be that they haven't explored yet. It kind of gave that movie that extra spark of interest as far as wanting to understand more about the world that they live in within this movie, and just understanding the different layers of everything that goes on within this realm of Pandora that they're living in. When it comes to the other characters and the story overall, the antagonists in the film, I feel like it was pretty redundant to have the same antagonist from the first film just in a Na'vi body. I guess they made do with what they had based off of what they were given based off of the ending of the first one. But when the first one ended, I did not assume or have a thought that though that particular antagonist would be able to, come back in the second film. But it's not a big bother within the film. It's just something that I didn't necessarily expect, and personally wouldn't have gone in that direction if I was the one making the film. But I feel like this movie, but both movies overall, Avatar 1 and The Way of the Water, are both allegories for, Native American life, indigenous life, and how colonizers have come over and, taken over other people's land and, just integrated themselves into other people's lives forcibly. And some people may feel like the first movie is a white savior movie based off of that fact, and how the main character, saves the day by, embodying the native people's powers and, abilities at the end of the day. And I could definitely understand where that notion comes from, because I see it within the movie myself. And with that being said, I do see the parallels between native people of different tribes and different lands and the Na'vi people, whether it be the water or the land people. And I think it says a lot that we're seeing more and more cinema now that is showcasing these different, scenarios in different ways. Like I brought up before, the movie Black Panther obviously does this by showcasing Namor and his people as, Aztec people, as Mayan people. So these movies are trying to show people where they come from without showing people where they come from. And I feel like those are the things that we need to pick up off of these movies, especially, these sci-fi movies, these fantasy movies that could kind of take us to another world rather than leave us, stuck in reality. A lot of these things that we see in these movies are things that are not far out of our reach, as far as knowledge and, the different abilities that are showcased, the different, intellectual levels and, the conscious levels that are showcased within these movies. These are not far-fetched ideas. These directors are getting these ideas from somewhere, and it's not anything that we cannot physically fathom. These are things that, can take place here. The more we learn about history and ourselves, the more we will learn from these movies and films and shows when we watch them, and the more we'll be able to connect the dots on, knowing what's right, what's wrong, where they get this piece of information from, where they get this idea from, and just being able to connect all the dots to, add to the journey of life that we're living, and to just, understand the world that we live in more and more. I do feel like having Avatar and then Black Panther, those two movies come out during the same season, with, the water realm being a big stature in the movie, does say a lot about the way of the world that we're living in right now. As some of you may know, this is the age of awakening. So a lot of these movies, films, and, TV shows alike are starting to showcase more and more about what is real in this world and the hidden knowledge that people may have not been able to have access to. And I know some people may look at it like, oh, it's just a movie, it's just entertainment, but they have to throw these messages in there. Universal law is a real thing, and these messages are thrown in there to combat with universal law, to make sure that karma isn't inflicted on certain people. And the more you do research, the more you'll understand those concepts. But there are layers to everything. And I feel like understanding these movies on a deeper level is one of the layers that people need to dive into. There's a lot that people can learn from all different types of media. And when you look at these films and, shows from a certain lens, it allows you to gain knowledge in a different way that you weren't able to gain before. In particular with this Avatar movie, if you weren't aware before, now you're aware that, the white savior concept is something that plays effect in this series. And the mindset of, the main character is something that is very interesting to me, because being that he is the new leader of the tribe, of the Na'vi tribe, I find it, real symbolic that it's easy for him to just take his family in, to go to another tribe's land and settle there and have the war come over there rather than fighting the war where he started it at. There's a lot of layers to that. Like I said before, the white savior concept in the first film about how they went over to Pandora, and the main character in the film, once he channeled the Na'vi energy and the Na'vi body, he was able to save the people of Pandora. Now it's taking it a step further by saving his tribe by taking the battle to another tribe's land, that being the water people's tribe, their land. And it allows the people making the movie to showcase the powers of water, and it allows them to also showcase another layer of colonialism and just how deep-rooted that mindset goes when it comes to being comfortable going to somebody else's land and settling there and allowing destruction to happen on their land as long as it's not happening on yours. And at the end of the movie, they have the sacrifice of the older brother, and certain things like that also are symbolic within the film. They have two brothers in the film. It's kind of like a Cain and Abel type of situation, not necessarily in terms of them butting heads or arguing all the time, but throughout the film you see their personalities are different, and you do see that the younger brother is more of quote unquote a loose cannon. His moves are more so unpredictable, rather than the older brother, who's more militant like his father is. So when the older brother passes later on in the film, it's, like I said, a Cain and Abel type of allegory right there, with the sacrifice of the older brother for the younger brother to wisen up and to tighten up, basically. You have that combated with the sister role that is played by Carrie, who, like I said, channels the Mother Nature energy within the film. Whether it be on land, whether it be in water, she's channeling the energy of the realm around her to help her, be able to help the people around her. So, like I said, there is a lot to learn from these type of movies, and all of these movies are teaching us about ourselves at the end of the day. They're not teaching us anything that we aren't able to access ourselves as far as knowledge and information, whether it be from text or, other forms of media. It all starts somewhere, And like I said before, these directors, these writers, they're not getting these ideas from anywhere. That, they know it's a ripple effect. There's a ripple effect to it all. In terms of overall story, I do feel like there were certain parts within the film that lacked versus other parts. There are certain parts that kind of made you question, like, where is this person? Why is this happening? Especially at the end when they had the battle on the sea, and then once the brother passes away, the older brother passes away, it's like the rest of the people that was fighting along with the main character and his family, they just all disappear. You don't know where they go or, what happens to them, but certain things like that just happen, and, the movie it keeps on going, so, you keep on going with the film. But other than those small things that, kind of missed when it came to writing, the movie was a good film despite it being over 3 hours. And it was honestly the only movie that I've watched that was 3 hours that felt like 3 hours. You really do feel the whole 3 hours of this film because, of the pacing of it. There's times where it speeds up and then it slows down real slow, and then it speeds up again, depending on the action, depending on the dialogue and the drama. They wanted to showcase they wanted to showcase Pandora and make it a film where you could connect with the characters deeper than you did on the first one. They want you to understand that there is a bigger world than the one that we were presented with in the first film, and that the films that are soon to come will, piggyback off of this concept of, there being more out there. There is more to know within the world of Pandora. And especially through the character of Carrie, I feel like they're going to keep the series pushing in a more thought-provoking way as to, who her father is, where she gets her, intuition from, where she gets that calling from, basically, to be able to channel the energy that she does, whether it be on land or in the water. I feel like that's a good little tidbit of, it's a good little thing that people could, pick up on. And, like I said, it's an allegory, like I said, for the native people of this land. It's symbolism. Everything that we see in these films are symbolism. So understand that when you watch these films, that there's a lot to be learned, as long as you study the layers of everything within the film and study outside the film as well. Study your history, study where you come from, and understand, the connection between you and the world around you. Understand what these different media forms are trying to tell you, whether it be negative or positive. You have to understand the world that you're living in to navigate through that. So that is my full thoughts and discussion on, Avatar. It's a lot of things within the film, like detail-wise, that I would talk about, but I'm not going to drag it out. I do just want to, shed light on, the things that really stuck with me, and the things that I took away as a message from the film, and the things that I would want people to focus on when looking at this film. And, I'll continue to do that, within this series, and just channel on the things that some people may have not picked up on, or some people may have not seen because of, certain things that they weren't introduced to prior to. So it's important to have these types of discussions and dialogue so that we understand what we're viewing as consumers in this world, and understand, everything that goes into play when it comes to creating a movie, creating a TV show, and just cinema in general. The world is a stage, It's important to understand that on all levels. And these movies are just showcasing our reality in different forms, whether it be sci-fi, drama, thriller. All of these movies are showcasing reality in different form. So pick up the important things that there is to learn from these movies and different films, and allow it to help you, in your journey of life, because you learn something every day, whether it be from text, film. People learn on their phone now through TikTok and things like that. So you can't deny that there's, something to learn from every form of media, as long as you channel your energy in the right areas. And I feel like with this series, it'll help people open their mind up to, focusing on those channels when viewing certain forms of media, and allow people to open up their mind and, think deeper, and not just look at movies and TV shows as pure entertainment, but also look at them as something to learn from, and something to, help them along their journey. If they see themselves within the character, understand why they see themselves within that character, and understand what it is about that character that's making, them so drawn to that person. Energy is real, and I want people to understand that when it comes to film, especially, that the energy that you put in and take out is very important to your character, and it's very important to your mental and spiritual state. So keeping that in mind, just make sure that you consume the right things and positive things, and don't allow yourself to fall victim to the negatives in life, the negative energy and the negative people, the negative forms of media. Don't allow yourself to fall victim to that. Understand that your higher power is, helping guide you, and just keep faith, and, make sure that you stay headstrong when you're moving around in this world. So yeah, it's your boy Jamal Hollywood. I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode of Studying Cinema with Cozy, and hopefully you guys tune in on the next one where we talk about another film or TV show that you guys voted in. I will put up a poll on Instagram, and we'll see what we'll talk about next week. But every Sunday you guys can expect this series to come up on your YouTube feed, and hopefully you guys learn something in the process. I appreciate everybody that watched it to this point. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed to the channel up to this point, and everybody that has contributed to the Cozy Candids brand over the years and just helped me grow within my journey within this journey. So yeah, that's all. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. I also wanted to add something. This movie does a lot of little things that you could pick up on and take away from. They have certain characters that play certain roles in this movie that show you where their mindset is as writers, as directors, and as people. The main antagonist, just like how the daughter Kiri comes from someone that was in the previous film who passed away, there's a boy in this movie who I forget the name of, who's basically a resemblance of Tarzan to a certain extent, that is the son of the antagonist from the first film, who is resurrected in a Na'vi body in this film. One thing I picked up on was that how this boy grew up within the Na'vi tribe, and he's very primal, as if he's like a caveman-like, Tarzan-like character. Basically a savage, As I told you guys before, these movies are, an allegory and symbolism for us and our history, indigenous people, native people. And it's funny how they could showcase someone acting like the Na'vi as a white boy who is acting like a savage. When, on surface, when you look at Avatar in these movies, the characterization of these Na'vi people aren't savage-like. They're not, caveman-like. So to see that perception of the young boy in the movie following in the footsteps of the Na'vi and acting the way he does, as the character that he is, it shows a lot of layers within itself as far as, how certain people view certain people, and how, those influences causes certain groups of people to act a certain way, whether it be right or wrong characterizations of the people that they're trying to mimic. So I just wanted to add that in there because that was something I picked up on within the film that I felt like needed to be discussed on, because I feel like they didn't add him in there for any reason, for no reason, I should say. So definitely something, to pick up on.